on the ground. Breaking stories. This is Scripps News on the Scene.
I'm Del Walters in Washington, D.C. You're watching Scripps News on the Scene. Day 88 in the war with Iran, and once again, conflicting statements on negotiations to end it. Iranian state TV reporting that memorandum of understanding being negotiated between the two countries demands the U.S. lift the blockades of Iranian ports. Now, in return, Iran says it will reopen the Strait of Hormuz. The White House, though, is pushing back. They say the report is a complete fabrication. The heart of Texas is with Texas AG Ken Paxton. Paxton beating four-term Senator John Cornyn in the Republican primary for U.S. Senate. It wasn't close. Paxton, picking up President Trump's endorsement last week, called him a true MAGA warrior. Cornyn becomes the first Republican senator from Texas to lose his party's nomination for re-election. Paxton faces the Democratic nominee, James Tallarico, in November. Tallarico's campaign has seen a surge in donations since last night's results rolled in. The Trump administration wants all federal workers to sign non-disclosure agreements. The Office of Personnel Management posting a draft NDA on Tuesday. Still awaiting public comment, though. Workers would agree to protect confidential government information if they sign it. The proposal comes as the administration has cracked down on leaks. Follows the FBI seizure of that Washington Post reporter's electronic devices earlier this year. Congress is about to pass the most significant housing reform in decades, but will it be enough to offset the rising cost of housing and affordability? Our congressional correspondent Nathaniel Reed takes a closer look at how those hurdles will evolve.
As we get closer to the midterm elections, the issue of affordability has continued to take center stage. Democrats seeking to take back one or both chambers of Congress have attacked Republicans for not doing enough to lower the cost of living. But on the horizon, a new bill which recently passed in the House, which has the potential to supercharge residential home building.
On this vote, the yeas are 396, the nays are 13.
Lawmakers hammering out a bipartisan breakthrough in the House of Representatives last week, laying the foundation to get a landmark housing affordability bill to President Trump's desk.
All of us want to see lower housing costs, but we need to change laws. We need to simplify some of the laws so that we can lower those housing costs.
According to the House Financial Services Committee, the U.S. is short as many as 5.5 million homes, attributed to, quote, rising construction costs, regulatory delays, and outdated zoning constraints. The bill seeking to cut red tape by allowing home builders to utilize pre-approved stock home designs to build homes quicker and expedite permitting for new construction. It would also exempt small-scale housing developments from federal environmental reviews, all with the goal of getting more homes built quicker. Cutting red tape could also help bring down costs. The National Association of Home Builders estimates that government regulations account for 23.8% of the cost of a new home. The bill also places restrictions on institutional investors from buying up large quantities of single-family homes, something President Trump called for in his State of the Union address. The bill building a rare bridge between Trump and Democrats in Congress.
There are a lot of problems with affordability. This is something that we can affect, and this was a strong bill, a collection of a lot of ideas.
Last week, the White House saying in a statement, if the House's bill were presented to the president in its current form, his advisors would recommend he sign it into law. The bill, which was amended by the House, still needs to pass the U.S. Senate, but the prospects could be good. It initially passed the Senate in March in a landslide 89-10 vote. There's a chance that when the House-passed version of the bill comes back to the Senate, it might face headwinds. In a joint statement, the chair of the Senate Banking Committee, Tim Scott, and top Democrat Elizabeth Warren saying in part, quote, there's still work to be done. It's not clear if the Senate will pass the bill, but the earliest it could come up for a vote is next month. Nathaniel Reed, Scripps News Group, Washington.
I'm Blair Sable in Elk Ridge. Howard County's plan to block this building from becoming an ICE facility was twofold: revoke the permits and ban any privately owned detention centers from operating within county limits. But facing a legal challenge, the county's attorney admits that ban doesn't apply here.
I was really shocked because I thought this was a done deal.
The fence remains up. but another barrier in an effort to block this Elkridge warehouse from completion has been removed. The building, located at 6522 Meadow Ridge Road, was slated to become a replacement ICE field office. That was until county leaders revoked the building's permit, citing a violation of state law, and then passed a ban on privately run detention facilities. As of Tuesday, its fate still rests in the hands of a federal judge. But in a filing last week, Assistant Solicitor David Moore admits that the ban does not apply in this case because it's the federal government behind the project, though it's currently being carried out by Genesis GSA Strategic One LLC.
That's the point we've been making throughout this whole lawsuit.
Attorney Michael Edney, who represents the company, said the county has flip-flopped multiple times on its position about the ban's application.
I think this is another example of the county playing politics with this project. I think it's unfortunate, and I think it's high time that the county's measures to interfere with this project be put to an end.
Unlike the ICE field office in Baltimore City, this one is surrounded by neighborhoods and schools.
If I were looking for a home, I wouldn't want to be anywhere near a detention center, concentration camp, whatever you want to call it. I wouldn't want to be anywhere near that negativity at all.
Shelley McFarland lives in Deep Run, where the majority of homeowners are Spanish-speaking. The neighborhood sits directly behind the planned facility.
Ever since, Trump has been elected, it's so quiet. It used to be a much happier place.
The county's admission does not mean the project can continue. That's only if a judge reinstates the permits. But if that's the case, construction may resume as soon as crews are cleared to go, something McFarland has begun to worry about again for her and her neighbors.
It's just going to be a sad, sad day if that happens.
The company has also petitioned the court for the county to pay attorney's fees, which, if granted, could cost taxpayers 6 figures. Blair Sable, Scripps News Group, Baltimore.
Take you live on the scene right now to a standoff, it appears, between two members of Congress and immigration and customs enforcement officials involving one of those immigration centers. Let's take you live on the scene right now.
We have a statutory right to respect the facility. Hold up. Back there.
That was a live image coming, by the way, out of Newark, New Jersey. The two congressmen, Congressman Jerry Nadler and Dan Goldman, both of them from New York, but the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Center located in New Jersey. Let's go back. I believe that image is now not frozen. Let's see what else is going on.
We'll see whether they obey that statutory right. And we know that the conditions inside are terrible. We know there are 300 hunger strikers. We know that people have died in here because of lack of medical attention. And it's our right to go in and see, and we'll see if they honor that right.
Mr. Goldman, any words?
Yeah, I think the stories that we've heard out of here are horrific and unfortunately consistent with what we've been hearing across the country, and ICE continues to blatantly lie about the conditions in all of these detention facilities. I've been to MDC in Brooklyn, where the immigration folks are treated like criminals, even though they have no criminal record. And we want to make sure that these conditions here are going to be dealt with, and more importantly, that if they are as bad as everybody seems to say, including those who have been in here and their family members, then why on earth are the Republicans trying to give ICE more money to brutalize and terrorize our communities and to treat them inhumanely in criminal detention facilities? It's unacceptable.
We also know that in these detention facilities are many American citizens. They just haul them in, and they don't seem to care who they are.
So, Congress members, we've seen 2 ambulances come just within the last hour. That marks the 7th ambulance within a 24-hour period. We also saw a large empty transport van going in, and we know that 11 people possibly inside from the women's unit were transferred out. This is the same women's unit where someone had a miscarriage, where there's a young 18-year-old girl who was arrested and detained before her prom and graduation. We're asking you to be that validator for the 3rd letter that hunger strikers have just released, talking about the conditions that they're experiencing, extreme lack of food that they equate to psychological torture, because when the food is delivered, it has parasites and worms in it. They're saying that sewage is overflowing in the facility, and when they hear that Congress members are coming, the employees of the prison make the Congress members wait and force the detainees to clean up the mess so that it can be ready for their representatives. We're also hearing that the overcrowding and the ventilation is so poor. As you can see, the smog and the scent in the air is awful here in Chemical Corridor in Newark. That is seeping into the groundwater, into the pipes. It is pervasive across the facility, and the overcrowding is only exacerbating it and making people sick. When people are sick and injured, they are not given medical care. According to the letter that hunger strikers released yesterday, they're given a single tablet of Tylenol, and when they complain about other symptoms, they are told by GEO staff, we're not a pharmacy.
We're hearing the same stories of all the facilities all over the country.
Especially true of Delaney Hall. Delaney Hall must close. If this is true of every detention center in the nation, every detention center must close.
So we wanted also to amplify, to you all to help us amplify the 4 demands that they have. One is that they want to meet with the governor. She was denied access to this facility, which is crazy that they doing that. Release the people that are medical and vulnerable conditions. As my compañera was sharing, there's a lot of them inside. The 3rd demand is release the young and the older people that is inside. We know that they are there. We know that they don't want to release. They can fight their cases outside of detention. They should not be here in these conditions especially. And the second, but no, and the last but not all, this the freedom for all. Absolutely. Thank you so much for showing up, and hopefully they can. And this is Gabi. She is the wife of Martin, one of the strikers that was transferring. He is also the
Hi. So the focus for this facility is to get everybody free. These people are innocent. We need to free these people. It can't just be closing the center down. Because once you close it, everybody else gets transferred. That's why there's buses here. That's why there's vans. We need to get people freed before this place closes. More people are getting transferred to different locations, to different states. But we need to get more people in there to supervise and to get these people free. The same thing, they could kidnap anybody the same way they kidnapped my husband. So
what were the circumstances of this?
They just singled him out.
From where? At the
because they
went for a check-in or no?
No, they just singled him out because of the strike. He was one of the participants in the strike.
The hunger.
The hunger and labor strike. He was one of the participants.
Out here?
Yeah.
No, inside.
So what did they do?
How did he get inside?
What did they do now?
On Friday, when this whole protest started, they called him down to the management office, 6 agents, and told him, if we free you now, will you tell your wife to stop this protest outside? That's unfair for them to say that.
No, of course, but when was he originally picked up?
Like brought here?
Yeah.
In February. And he was just walking the streets. He was just walking the streets to get diapers. That is basically kidnap. No, not basically. That is kidnap.
Yes.
He didn't do anything wrong. But they kidnapped him and strangled him. I saw him. If you saw him, if you go inside, you're gonna go to the Visitation Chapel ramp. There's gonna be a ramp that you can see outside all the way in the back, and you're gonna see the Visitation Chapel. From that ramp, you can see people getting tormented. They grabbed my husband, chained from his ankles and from his wrists, and threw him in the van. I witnessed that, and they didn't even let me out. I was trying to get out of inside, but when you go inside, you have to press the stupid button to get out, and they have to authorize it. They weren't even letting me out because they knew what they were doing. They were trying to kidnap me in there so my husband can get out. They're targeting innocent people.
Also, before Martin get transferred, they were pressuring her to be like, okay, we keep him here. Can you go outside and everything? Like, how can we stop this? So that's like also the tactics that they're using, not just with Martin, but with everyone inside.
Right now, they're pressuring every single person to sign the order of release or outside, but with the fine print being deportation or transfer.
A voluntary and departure.
Yeah.
We can't let that happen to them.
You know what this says? The only silver lining here, and this is for everybody, is what we're doing here is working. If they're trying to release him, to stop this, showing up here every day and doing this is working, and we will continue to put pressure
and they're
on
trying, and they're intimidated by the solidarity of these inside and these out here. They're intimidated by the solidarity and the united communities that are coming together.
That's why if you can also ask your colleagues to come and ask them to showing up here is going to be crucial for this.
Sir, there's families in there. We just got a call from a family that has been denied. The person is blind. He needs glasses. He's been getting constant headaches, and he has asked multiple times to leave his car. They haven't.
Do you have the name?
I do have a name. I can give it to you on the camera here. They haven't given him a walking stick. They're saying that is a weapon.
Yes, 2 guys, please.
Yeah, he's coming.
Free him now.
Congressman, offensive. Look, now, listen. Freedom is their demands. Freedom is their demands. It's not close. It's not just closing it. Please free those people.
You're not allowed, sir. You're not allowed.
Wherever he goes, I go.
You're not allowed to go. You're not going to be allowed to go in. That's fine. Yes, okay. You're not going to be allowed to go in. Right. You're not going to go in.
The latest standoff involving an ICE detention center, this one in New Jersey. Congressman Jerry Nadler and Dan Goldman, both of them from New York, outside that immigration center in New Jersey. As part of our ICE Inc. investigation, we have looked into the allegations you heard there, allegations of inhumane conditions and even hunger strikes. New Jersey Governor Mikey Sherrill was also denied entry over the weekend. Homeland Security Secretary Markwayne Mullin saying there are no inhumane conditions and no hunger strikes. You're watching Scripps News on the Scene.
The Vatican has sparked global debate, urging world leaders to hit pause on risky AI. Coming up, what disarming artificial intelligence might look like and why it could matter for all of us. President Trump wants to keep the federal government in charge of regulating prediction markets. The booming industry sees billions of dollars in weekly trading volume as users bet on everything from politics to award shows. State governments largely consider them to be gambling and want to apply their state gaming laws. Trump's post did not mention that his son, Donald Trump Jr., is an investor in Polymarket and an advisor to Kalshi. Toyota is recalling more than 40,000 Tundra trucks. It says debris from the manufacturing process could contaminate the engine. Toyota says the remedy for the issue is still being developed. Owners can contact the company for options. And Nabisco releasing a limited edition BTS-themed Oreo. Its cream is supposed to taste like the South Korean treat Hotak. That's a brown sugar stuffed pancake that some of the K-pop group members say they ate as kids. The cookie's wafer is BTS's signature color, purple. This week at the Vatican, Pope Leo XIV issued a bold call telling governments and tech giants that artificial intelligence must be disarmed. That includes strict limits on military uses, rules for transparency, and real oversight to keep power out of the hands of only a few. It's a push to make sure AI is not just smart, but safe and accountable. The Pope's new Magnificat Humanitas encyclical is a first for the Church, blending spiritual wisdom with calls for urgent, practical change. Pope Leo says just talking about AI ethics is not enough. He wants tough laws, independent audits, and a ban on letting algorithms run wild where lives or democracy are at stake.
Artificial intelligence needs to be disarmed. The word is strong, I know, but deliberately chosen because this moment needs words capable of attracting attention, awakening consciences, and indicating paths forward for humanity.
So what would disarming AI actually look like in real life? Think bans on killer robots, stronger rules around surveillance, and forcing tech companies to open up their algorithms for review. The Vatican's call comes as countries around the world race to pass new laws and as companies and politicians clash over how and who controls this powerful technology.
After the break, a live look at today's top stories.
My love is acting like a mess. He's going out late and getting into conflict. And when I ask, he starts to sweat. I wonder what he's hiding. Do I really want to find it? So tell me what's her name.
This is Scripps News on the Scene.
I'm Del Walters in Washington, D.C. You're watching Scripps News on the Scene. The shifting landscape involving the war with Iran seems to be shifting again. President Trump backing away from his comments over the weekend that the Iran war was, quote, largely negotiated. During this morning's lengthy cabinet meeting, he said an agreement would have to be perfect. The nation's top diplomat, Marco Rubio, saying all options are still on the table.
Diplomacy is always the first option. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that we prefer the negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed. I know you're giving it every chance to succeed, Mr. President, but here's the bottom line, because I keep getting asked, what is this all about? It's very simple. Iran and these people in charge of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, and they most certainly will not have one as long as you're President of the United States.
For most of you, the war's impact on your paying at the pump. The national average today, $4.59 a gallon, according to AAA. On that front, the Trump administration is rejecting Tehran's claims about a potential agreement. Iran said it would share control of the Strait of Hormuz with Iran. In response, President Trump saying Oman will behave or the U.S. will blow them up. Minneapolis has a new police chief. The former chief, Brian O'Hara, resigned under pressure. The mayor there, Jacob Fried, saying O'Hara interfered with an investigation into whether he had sex with city employees. Fry saying the claims are unsubstantiated, but says the trust between he and O'Hara is broken. O'Hara led the department since 2022, shortly after the George Floyd convictions. Assistant Chief Katie Blackwell is going to take over. PayPal having a tough time in the payment business. It actually helped to create. PayPal stock has dropped about 40% over the last year, 80% over the last 5. Apple, Shopify, and buy now, pay later firms like Affirm and Klarna have been chipping away at PayPal's customer base. The company has also replaced its CEO and reorganized its business. It says it will update investors on its turnaround strategy soon. Those high gas prices have lots of you rethinking your travel plans, especially if that travel involves typical summer destinations like Nashville. A New York family telling the Scripps News Group they chose to drive 16 hours rather than fly 2.5 because it just costs too much. Kelsey Gibbs says some families are canceling their trips altogether.
We were here Saturday, standing room only.
Even as wallets tighten, Nashville's Lower Broadway still pulses with energy, music, and the footsteps of visitors determined to make memories.
It's pretty crowded to me.
For many families heading to Nashville this summer, flying feels out of reach, both in cost and convenience.
The decision was to fly, but I didn't have enough miles, and the cost of flights was almost $2,000 for the three of us. So it is a very long drive from Long Island. It took us about 16 hours total.
Christine Carroll and her family decided to drive.
For gas, I would say about $100, maybe. I filled up 2 times, so yeah, it's driving over the mountains that get you the not so good gas mileage, but yeah.
AAA says 45 million Americans are traveling this Memorial Day weekend. More than 39 million will drive. Gas prices are $1.38 higher than last year, and Gas Buddy predicts the national average could climb to $4.80 a gallon by Labor Day.
Kind of went up for the weekend.
Airfares have soared 21%, driven by rising jet fuel costs, turning travel into a math problem many families can't solve without compromise.
It's surged to 33%. That's up 13 points from the month prior. It's the highest we've seen with the concern for gas prices since July of 2022. The impact is that 41% of travelers are choosing to find closer to home destinations for their travel.
In a recent Metro Tourism and Convention Commission meeting, we learned 36% of people are cutting back on trips. Meanwhile, conflict overseas is prompting 27% of Americans to skip international travel in favor of domestic trips. Tourism leaders worry higher travel costs could cut into what visitors spend once they arrive. But they also see opportunity in building stronger connections with nearby markets like Knoxville and Memphis. Nashville remains one of the country's most popular destinations. But as prices rise, many travelers are thinking harder about how far they're willing to go.
Definitely. I stay home a lot more.
Kelsey Gibbs, Scripps News Group.
We've all seen it before. The check engine light pops on and maybe your car still seems fine. But that warning is your car's way of telling you something is wrong, and ignoring it can get expensive. A new report by CarMD found putting off the check engine light can turn a minor problem into a major issue, and drivers are paying more than ever to fix it. For example, what starts as a sensor issue could eventually damage a catalytic converter. A repair the report found can cost more than $1,500. Other frequent repairs include ignition coils and spark plugs, which run close to $500, and airflow sensors coming in at more than $300. The report also found the cost of labor is growing, driven in part by newer cars that are just more complicated to fix. Something else you have to factor in is the price of parts. If those go up or there are supply chain issues, you can expect higher repair costs. So the next time you see the check engine light, don't wait and get it checked out, because it could grow into a bigger problem.
I'm Casey Albritton, your St. Pete and South Pinellas reporter. With the rising cost of groceries and gas, local food banks are struggling to keep food on their shelves.
Well, people get hangry. They get hungry and angry, you know, and so it's very important that they're able to have food so that they, you know, won't be stressed out.
Chris Berger spent her Tuesday at the Love Thy Neighbor food pantry, filling up her bag with food for the week.
Coming here, it helps because, you know, especially if you're out of like money or food stamps or whatever you get.
She tells me she's needed more help lately.
The gas has been extremely high, and so it's very difficult, you know, to budget, and you're able to you know, get food and stuff because gas basically has to come first because you have to be able to get here.
She isn't the only one needing a little extra support.
This past Saturday, we saw a total of 50 families. Some have one, some have 5. So it's really increased because of all these gas prices.
Aside from high demand, organizers with Love Thy Neighbor are having to buy groceries because individual donations have slowed down.
Really tough right now with all these increases.
So we are, as you can see, always slammed. There's definitely a need for it.
Volunteers with Love Thy Neighbor tell me on the weekends the line for food comes out of the shop and wraps all the way around the building, showing just how much people are in need right now.
Jennifer Reber is one of the volunteers who spent her own money to buy food for the nonprofit.
The people really appreciate it. I mean, they need it. There's really not an alternative.
Love Thy Neighbor has had to rely on donations from large organizations like Eckerd College for much of their food. The organization is now asking for help from anyone who is able to.
It's very important that they get donations so that they're able to keep this place going.
Casey Albritton, Scripps News Group.
Well, Europe continuing to swelter under this heat wave. There has been a huge area of hot air that's come up from northern Africa. It's been trapped here by high pressure. It's so-called heat dome effect. It's seeing record temperatures. The highest temperature ever in May has been broken in the United Kingdom 2 days running. We've had hundreds of local records for high temperatures beaten here in France over the past couple of days. But sadly, there have also been multiple fatalities. We have seen numerous reports of drowning in the United Kingdom and in France as people have gone into rivers, lakes and the sea to try to cool off and then have got into difficulty. We are also seeing players at the French Open getting into difficulty. The second major of the year is underway here in Paris. The women's defending champion Coco Gauff will be looking to defend that crown, but several matches have had to be interrupted. Players have been really struggling walking around the court, not being able to chase down the balls around the courts, having to take breaks with ice packs and under parasols, really suffering sunstroke from the effects of having to play in open air. Obviously, these courts are not protected. The open air, the sun is beating down on the players at the French Open. Other countries as well, like Belgium and Hungary, are also being punished by this heat wave, which shows no signs of stopping for now. We are due for at least another few days of these temperatures, which are around about 35 in European terms or 95 Fahrenheit. Ross Cullen, Scripps News Group, Paris.
With the FIFA World Cup just weeks away, U.S. officials are gearing up for a major public health test. Concerns range from respiratory illnesses and mosquito-borne viruses to spikes in measles and STIs, especially as all three host countries have seen recent outbreaks. Many cities plan to monitor wastewater to spot any developing threats. The CDC has even launched a special World Cup health dashboard to track risks and detect unusual patterns in real time during the games. With colorectal cancer rates rising in younger adults, new testing options are now available. The American Cancer Society recommends blood tests for adults 45 and older who cannot do a colonoscopy. At-home stool tests are also advised, detecting early molecular signs of cancer. A colonoscopy remains the gold standard, but experts say any screening can improve survival by catching cancers before symptoms start and when treatment has the best shot at success. Eli Lilly is making a major move back into vaccines, announcing it will spend up to $4 billion to buy 3 biotech companies working on vaccines for shingles, staph infections, and Epstein-Barr virus. None of the companies have products on the market yet, but Eli Lilly says the acquisitions will help it expand beyond its focus on diabetes, cancer, and Alzheimer's. The drug maker hopes to boost innovation and compete in the growing vaccine field.
The sudden death of NASCAR's Kyle Busch is shining a new light on a deadly medical condition. Busch passed away at the age of 41 from sepsis brought on by severe pneumonia.
It's actually much more common than we think. You know, nearly 2 million Americans every year are diagnosed with sepsis. This kills hundreds of thousands of Americans every year, and about 1/3 of hospital-related deaths are related to sepsis. So this is something that we often don't talk about enough, but something very common that's occurring in the population.
The two-time Cup Series champion was found unresponsive in a driving simulator a day before he died. Sepsis happens when your immune system overreacts to an infection and then attacks normal organs. It can become life-threatening within hours, but there are red flags.
There are several warning signs, and one, of course, is a fever. If you have a fever that's high, more than 102, 103 degrees Fahrenheit, that's a warning sign. Typically, you can feel your heart racing, something that we call tachycardia. When your heart rate is elevated, that's another warning sign.
Doctors say extreme fatigue and low blood pressure are also symptoms of sepsis. If you have an infection and experience any of these signs, you should go to the emergency room right away.
May is Self-Care Month, and for caregivers, finding time for themselves can be a challenge. I'm Megan Knight with details on what one nonprofit is doing to give parents of critically ill kids a chance to unwind. Well, what better way to relax than a soothing facial? It's one of the many services offered at the spa, at the hotel, at the University of Maryland. And now once a month, those services will be complimentary to a caregiver chosen by the nonprofit Casey Cares.
Casey Cares works to provide support to critically ill children, but also not just the child, also the siblings and the parents. And so we are, so pleased to be able to offer spa services to our moms, because they are really, the ones who are working so hard in the family to make sure everything is happening for their sick child and also their other kids.
The chosen caregiver can select whatever service they want to help them de-stress and focus on themselves, if just for an hour or two.
So oftentimes we do have guests in our spa that are here for their own, personal reasons, that are going through things. Sometimes they send an email after the fact saying, you had no idea what I was going through. They share how much the experience has really helped them. So we knew we wanted to do something that was really going to help people in that way.
Caring for a loved one is certainly a selfless act, but can also be stressful and easily lead to burnout, such as exhaustion, feeling isolated, angry, anxiety, or depression.
Our research shows that 57% of family caregivers feel overwhelmed.
Nancy Carr is with AARP Maryland and says it's important for all caregivers to ask for help, set boundaries, and take time out for themselves.
You're always going to do a better job when you are relaxed, refreshed, and can be present in the moment. We all perform better. We're kinder. We're more open-minded. We feel more in control. But you can't do that if you're just running like the Energizer Bunny. Even the Energizer Bunny eventually needs a new battery.
Or perhaps a rejuvenating facial.
Hundreds of spellers are in the hunt for the National Spelling Bee Trophy. I'm Stephanie Liebergen in Washington. So what does it take to be a top speller? I'll tell you coming up.
You're watching Scripps News on the Scene. Coming up at 5, Happening Now in America brings you up-to-the-minute details on today's top stories. And later at 6, watch Today as It Happened. It's all coming your way on Scripps News.
Earning a spot in the Spelling Bee finals takes a lot of work. From Latin and Greek roots to language origin and vocabulary, many of these spellers have spent years preparing for their moment on the national stage. K-A-T. The Scripps National Spelling Bee puts the country's top young spellers in the spotlight. With kids as young as 9 years old, spelling words many adults can't even pronounce. Correct. So what does it take to be a top speller?
A big part of it is discipline and hard work, being willing to put in the hours. I think part of it is curiosity about language and a love of words.
Scott Reamer is a tutor and spelling coach, and he has worked with some recent Bee champions, including 2023 winner Dev Shaw and 2025 winner Faizan Zaki.
S-E-M-E-N-T. That is correct. I think the kids who are most successful are the ones who love to do dictionary diving and do searches and find new words. And whenever they find a really good one, there's like a thrill, there's a joy to that, and a passion for that.
These students spend months and sometimes years studying, practicing, and hoping to earn their spot in the National Bee. But becoming an elite speller takes more than just dedication from the student.
This is a big commitment if you want to make it to those Thursday night finals, the primetime finals. It means that your family needs to be committed to helping you study, to giving you time to study.
Reamer says part of that preparation is learning to be okay with uncertainty.
You can't control everything. You do the best you can. You study as hard as you can. But at the end of the day, there are certain things that are kind of out of your control, and you have to just kind of make your peace with that.
Regardless of what happens on the big stage, every speller who earns a spot in Bee Week deserves huge congratulations for making it to the Olympics of spelling. Stephanie Liebergen, Scripps News Group, Washington.
The biggest show in sports is set to begin on June 11th, and the Valley sliver of World Cup excitement is reaching a fever pitch. The Turkish men's national soccer team will begin training at the Arizona Athletic Grounds in Mesa on June 8th. I'm ABC 15's Sean McDowell.
It's believed there are as many as 4,000 people of Turkish descent living in the valley.
There will be people living in the nearby states coming here.
You may remember Mustafa Uyghur, who owns this repair shop in Tempe. ABC 15 introduced you to him 3 weeks ago when we first told you about the Turkish team. Uyghur and his family hail from Istanbul originally, and the closer it gets to June 8th, the more he and his friends plan to cook for the team and to meet them at the airport.
It's a dream, and so we don't want to leave them alone whenever, as soon as they come in. We just want them to feel that, okay, they are here like they're in Turkey.
The athletic grounds will open its gates to the public only once while the Turkish team is in Arizona, the evening of June 8th from 5:30 to 9:30. AAG leaders say the team will meet and greet fans. Tickets are required to attend, but they're said to be free of charge.
This is the creme de la creme.
David Hayes speaks for AAG, where 3 practice pitches will be used for the Turkish team. He says FIFA focuses on every detail to make sure these World Cup camps are perfect. Hayes knows this will bring fans calling, and they'll bring business with them. In fact, Visit Mesa, the city's nonprofit for tourism, foresees $3 million in business from this friendly invasion.
The standard of the games and the training is going to be world-class. I think Arizona has been recognized as a world-class facility.
This pitch has hosted professional soccer clubs in the past, like Phoenix Rising from the USL, but this will be its first time serving as a World Cup training camp. Hayes also tells ABC 15 those free tickets to see the Turks train will be available on the AAG website soon.
After the break, a live look at today's top stories.